Hello, everyone, Jamal Bryant. You may picture a dynamic preacher pulpit standing, bold in his sermons and unafraid to confront power structures. A man whose voice reached congregations, his platform large, his ambitions broad. And yet behind that pulpit and behind the headlines there is a story of faith, failure, revelation, and a soul laid bare in public light. And what has recently happened? The moment where he finally speaks and accepts all the rumors feels like more than tabloid fodder. It's a mirror held up to the human cost of ministry, of ambition, of secrecy, and of the demand for perfection in a world that doesn't allow it. From his rise as a young minister, inheriting legacies, founding churches, earning respect in his community, Bryant built a brand of hope, strength, transformation. Yet somewhere along the way, the image and the reality diverged. Rumors swirled, whispers of infidelity, child support battles, relationship breakdowns, accusations of failing to live what he preached, and for years many assumed the rumors would vanish, would remain unspoken or dismissed. But now Jamal Bryant has finally taken a public seat, paused the sermon, looked into the camera and said, "Yes, this is real." In a January 2025 interview, he admitted that one of the driving forces behind his extramarital affair was what he called his untested monogamy. "My first attempt at monogamy was marriage," he confessed, acknowledging that he had never practiced true fidelity in the way he preached it. Atlanta Black Star +1. That admission, that vulnerability, cracks the veneer of the celebrity pastor and reveals a man who at once preached forgiveness, redemption, and yet struggled under the weight of his own covenant. The rumors that he fathered a child outside marriage, that he mismanaged obligations, that he married again someone whose resemblance to his ex raised eyebrows, they were not just gossip, they were symptoms of a deeper crisis. The credibility of his spiritual authority, the trust of his congregation, the expectations of his family, all hung in that tension between public persona and private actions. It is heartbreaking because this is not just about one mistake. It's about what happens when a person built for ministry is also human, flawed, lonely, burdened, and yet held up as something more than human. In the telling of this story, we must feel the ache of a man who preached love and fell into patterns of hurt, who sought to save souls but struggled to save his own, who climbed pulpit after pulpit but found himself slipping in the silence of his own soul. Add to that the human collateral: 3 daughters, an ex-wife who loved him and walked away, a new wife whose image sparked comparisons, a congregation that prayed for him while news headlines marched through the internet. As he now works to rebuild trust, to speak truth into the darkness of his own mistakes, he opens a window onto what redemption costs, what accountability means, and how public figures live twice, once in the myth and once in the mirror. And for those watching, this story isn't just scandal, it's sorrow. It's the moment when the man who pointed people toward God's grace must himself stand under that grace, confess his failures, ask for mercy, and hope the world still listens. There is no glory in this chapter, no triumphant sermon at the end. What happens instead is a quiet reckoning, a halting walk back to integrity, a plea for authenticity in a role that often demands perfection. The heartbreak lies in the fact that even the strong fall, even the trusted wrap themselves in shame, and even the loudest voices can become whisperers of truth only after they've been silenced by their own secrets. But there is a sliver of hope too, because by accepting the rumors, he invites us all to accept that imperfection is real, accountability is required, and healing, though messy and protracted, is possible. So when you watch Jamal Bryant finally speak his truth, understand this: you're witnessing more than a pastor admitting fault. You're witnessing the human soul laid bare, the pulpit emptied, the sermon rewritten, and a man choosing vulnerability over image. And maybe, just maybe, that is the most courageous sermon of all. Thanks for watching.